Good afternoon, everyone. If I could draw you away from your intense conversations for 2 seconds. All right, no worries. Go ahead. Let me know when you're done, and then I'll carry on. Welcome to our town hall, and I have mostly this town hall is going to be a update, for lack of a better term, or a did you know, or just bring you through it. I have people dying on the side over here. Anyway, first thing I want to talk about is, and some of this stuff, if you were at the board meeting, you heard pieces of this, what I'm going to talk about, but not all of it. But the one thing I wanted to start out with, which in my small mind is probably one of the most important things that I have asked my staff to focus on since I got here. And it's basically a mission statement. And it's not new. It was written back in 2020 by the Long Range Planning Committee. And we kind of took a couple pieces of it, and you'll start seeing it in our signatures as we send you all emails or anything like that. It's going to show up at the bottom of that. And here's all it says. It says, our mission is to enhance and preserve the Tellico Village quality of life, resulting in a lifetime of well-being. And that's our mission. I mean, we can color it with all these other things of, you know, getting trash working and getting the roads paved and all these other things that are really just stuff to do. Our real mission is to maintain and enhance the quality of life that all of us enjoy here in Tellico Village. So you will hear me referencing this periodically as we go forward, because it's a goal of ours to try and do and make happen as it should happen. Second topic, which is one of some contention, shall we say, and that is trash. And I just want to cover a few things because there's, you know, God bless next door. There's just lots of different ideas and varieties of comments and what we should or shouldn't do. And apparently a lot of people want my job. And but here are the three choices we actually have. And just to throw this in as a kind of make sure everybody knows that I'm aware of it, I did actually talk to the mayor of Lenoir City about his trash arrangement and what he did and how he does it. And to be honest with you, none of what he's doing I have the capabilities of doing, because he's negotiated deals with the dump site and he doesn't pay for that. He gets it for free. I haven't been able to convince Republic to let me do that. That's one of the things we want to work on. The other thing is that their trash pickup does not have anything to do with trash cans. More or less, you can put any crazy thing you want out there, buy your own trash can. If you want a big one, you can buy a big one, doesn't matter. They have two guys walking behind a truck and they're picking up whatever you leave and dumping it in there. So most of us might say, well, that's pretty simple, but there are a lot of people in this community who could not manage that, either by their age or by their physical abilities or whatever the case may be. That would not be something they could manage. And so that one kind of gets thrown out the window for me anyway. Anyway, moving on. The first opportunity we have for negotiating a new contract is for the POA to negotiate that and to go to a provider and say, look, we have 5,400 homes. I'm pausing so Beth can tell me that's the right number. 5,400 homes, and we want to bid that and get you to give us trash service for 5,400 homes. What will you do that for? And we, the POA, would pay that bill, and then we would bill the individual homeowners whatever that equates to per month in their water and sewer bill. Put it right in there and it's done. And we would manage that, we would be responsible for it, all of the above. That's one option. And there's some upsides and some downsides to that option. I'll cover those in a minute. Second option is to do what we've been doing, going to different vendors and saying, we have approximately 4,200 homes that is currently paying for trash, that you could bill them as individuals and we'd like to get a contract to come up with a price for you billing those individuals of 42. The problem with that is twofold. Number one, there is a cost to them to manage 4,200 bill invoices and 4,200 bills. And they have to deal with you as individuals. Whereas if we chose option one, they've only got me to deal with. And I have to deal with all of y'all. So in this case, it doesn't give us very much buying power because I can't guarantee them even the 4,200, to be honest, because right now, even under our current state of limping along, a lot of people are opting out because they're just sick of Republic. I get it. I wouldn't want to carry my own trash, but some people have made the decision to do that. So that takes away our buying power. And number three, which is really kind of a distant thought, but it is, I have to answer it honestly and say it is a possibility for us to do it, and that is for us to look in-house and purchase the vehicles to do that, staff it, and then negotiate whatever deal we can negotiate with the dump sites to be able to dump our trash. I don't know that that will be any cheaper. In fact, I'm fairly certain it will not because of the expenditures at the front end to buy a truck and all the other entertaining things that go along with that. Plus, we'd also have to buy all the different containers and get those out to you. And we could theoretically purchase anyway, the cans that we currently have from Republic. So, under these three options, number one definitely gives us the most control and the most buying power. If we negotiate with 5,400 homes, to give you an idea of the vendors that I spoke with, 5,000 is the breaking point. That's when the price drops like a rock, and in terms of the number of people that they pick up for. It gives us more buying power, it gives us more control. Number two, that particular option, it takes away, well, number one, I guess what I would have to say is it puts you, the homeowner, in control, and it gives us no ability to take care of you. Like right now, the only thing I've been able to do to take care of you is two things. Number one, keep the contract in state, and number two, put teeth in it so that you're semi-protected if they don't do anything. They don't pick up your trash, don't do anything like that. You're at least getting credit back in that regard. But that's it. That's all I can do for you because you're negotiating that, or you're paying for it and dealing with them on an individual basis. And number three is the unknown. We just don't know. I couldn't tell you right now what it would cost us. I know the trucks are, I don't know, about $700,000 or something in that range a piece, and we'd probably have to have two, and we'd have to hire staff. And actually, I guess if I were to be brutally honest, the really hard part is negotiating they refer to it in the trash business as the tipping fee. And I love that term. I'm trying to decide, is that a tip like you'd give a waiter? Is that tipping the truck? I'm not sure what that means, but anyway, that's the term they use, is tipping fee. So those are the things we're looking at currently. On a side note, for those in Kahiti, I'm talking to the mayor of Monroe County to talk about what he can do for recycling, which reminds me, I forgot something else about recycling. And there, I think Vonor is putting in a new, I guess they call it a convenience center. And I'm not sure where that's going to be yet. But we're looking at what our options are for recycling in Kahiti. As far as the main association is, our friends at Loudoun County are bringing over recycling bins to put at the Public Works area. And they are committed to picking it up every day if necessary. And it will be for cardboard, paper, plastic, and I think we're still going to keep our aluminum cans because we recycle those and put the funds back into the gardening association or something of that nature, gardening club. So that's kind of good, and that's free, by the way. That's not an expense. To put that in perspective, every client that we talked to about recycling, picking it up at your door, was over and above trash pickup, $45 a month. So that's a lot of savings for the homeowner. It is the inconvenience of you having to take it to Public Works to dump it, but for those of you who like to recycle, it's sure a lot more convenience than driving all over the county trying to find a place to dump it. or to recycle it. Okay, and let's see. The other thing that we're starting up right now is, and I say we're starting it up, we've been doing it internally all along, but what we're starting now is to find specific ways to present it to both the community and the board, a term we call CPIs, which is key. I said CPI, didn't I? Lord. KPI, key performance indicators. Performance was the word I could not find. Key performance indicators. What that means is we're evaluating the staff, our functions, how we do our job, how effective we are, we're saving money, if we're saving time, whatever that we're doing to benefit and improve the finances of the community and the operations of the community would come under this KPI program, and we've had it for a while, long before I got here. So this is not new or anything I've brought to the party. The only thing that is new is that we're trying to put together reports that we present both to the board and to the community every month. That is an indicator of what are we doing? Are we doing better? Are we doing worse? Are we managing the staff? Are we managing the processes better or worse? And putting that in place where it's beginning to, where people can see it and people know that we're actually watching, so to speak, about how that's happening. So look for that coming up at probably the next board meeting. Tenacity restoration, not a lot new here. It's in the hands right now of the architect. We had a meeting a week ago, and that meeting, they basically showed us different designs of different clubhouses, some of them all over the world, believe it or not. And we just gave them our opinions about what we thought. And there was a whole group there who reviewed it. And in reviewing it, we decided that we were going to bring a few more people onto that committee. Gentlemen, I'm going to apologize. Ladies, I'm going to apologize. I know this is a sexist comment, but we needed more feminine opinions as we look at this. There was way too much testosterone in the room, and we needed to balance that out just a little. And so we've asked several female designers to join it, and we've asked our female pro here, Sharon, to join us as well, so she get her point of view. So I think that's going to be a good, good contributors to that. And last but not least is a topic that the board is throwing around, and I've thrown it out as an issue, and that is rentals. And I simply want to let you know that one of the things I'm trying to do currently is to get my hands around the number of how many current rentals we have. And that's going to be a bit of a piece of entertainment, but I think it can be done. And the point of doing this is, and a lot of people have asked the board, and the board's gotten a bunch of emails on it, well, what should our percentage be? Well, some of the first few shots across the bow were, well, it shouldn't be no more than 5%. And some other people said 9, whatever. The reality of it is I need to be sure we already aren't past 5% before we start throwing those things out there. So as we look at these, and I get those numbers and get them put together, I will be bringing those back to both the board and the community so that they can look at that and say, okay, is it worth us going after this policy and trying to make this change within the community to control the number of rentals that we have? Personally, I think it's important. I live here too. But I think that has to be a decision that the community gets behind. That can't be, just my idea. It has to be yours. In fact, I really can't do anything with it without your support or your opinions. So as we get those numbers out, think about it, think what you think, see what you feel about it, and talk to your friends about it, see what they think. It's interesting to me that most of the people who responded after the last board meeting were actually people who they own the rentals. They're the ones doing the renting. And it was fascinating to me that the majority of them said they think that having a limit on the number of homes to be rented was a really good thing, and we needed to take care of that and not let it slide. So I thought that was a fascinating sideline that I actually didn't expect entirely. Okay, that's my update. What do y'all got? Who's up?
I'll go first. We have an online question. They would like to know, and Clayton, this would probably be more for you, what is the status of the corner of Utsuma and Chota Road.
That area will have,
Face the camera.
where's
There you
the
go.
camera? That area will have topsoil, and it will have erosion matting and stuff put on that this week. So, to where the grass will start growing back in that area.
Okay, yes, ma'am, please step right up to the mic. The only reason we ask you is not to be difficult, it's being recorded, and the recording won't hear you.
That's to the left of the sign. Okay. What's the status of the insurance going on with Tenacity? I mean, I hope I live long enough that we get a clubhouse.
Well, number one, you're going to live long enough, unless you get hit by a car or you say the wrong thing to him. You're going to live long enough. Trust me. The status is that we have now gone to full guns, which means that we are filing a direct suit. And once that is filed, they have 90 days. So our goal is to have this resolved before Christmas. So that should bring it to a screeching halt. There's only so much stalling they can do because the process of how these work, and the court has specific designs and time frames and blah, blah, blah. They don't have a choice. So one of two things will happen. We'll either have it resolved or we'll be in court before Christmas in front of a judge, one or the other. What else? That was a good question, though. I forgot about that. I should have mentioned that. Anything else? Wow, you guys are really, please.
Two questions, if you would. The first one was, you mentioned that we get
Just
some...
one second. Can you, for the room, if you'll please announce your name before you talk, that would be great.
So Jordan Spieth wouldn't be appropriate? No?
Yeah.
Jack McElligott.
Thank you, Jack.
Question is, or two questions. First one, you mentioned recycling bins.
Yes,
I missed the date. Did you say that's coming within the
that
next...
they should be in place this week.
Okay, at the
Public Works.
Public Works?
Yes.
Okay. And the
They're
next
going to be
question...
it's going to be I'm sorry, I didn't really define this. It's going to be a large trailer with separate bins.
Right.
And then there'll be a separate trailer because there's so much more of that of cardboard. And so they'll be hauling both of those out if we need it once a week.
Okay, great, thank you. My other question is, can you just give us an idea of non-capital expenditures that you're going to spend the next 6 months?
Non-capital expenditures. Well, I mean, when you say non-capital, those are all things that would be in the budget. Is that how you're phrasing that question? The list is pretty long. I don't know what, Mickey, you have any comments to that?
I mean, is there something more specific or a department that's more specific? I mean, we spend quite a bit of money every month just running the operation.
Right, because that seems to be an operational question, like we're going to spend gas between now and the next 6 months. We're going to be buying parts and replacement parts for all kinds of buildings that are the normal maintenance things that we buy and that we've budgeted for. I think that's why.
The reference wasn't some large non-capital expenses. For instance, you talked about at one point. What I was actually looking for was not a very large non-capital expenditures. So there's some big projects that were either on the budget list that you're going to complete in the next 6 months, or are there items that were non-budgeted, non-capital expenditure that you're now considering?
Here's the thing. When we built our budget this last year, we basically said anything over, was it $50,000 was going to be a capital expenditure, not a budgetary expenditure. And so all the projects that we're currently working on are either capital expenses like the dock and some other things like that. But the roads that we're doing, all the road repaving, all of those are capital expenditures, and we're captured in that in the budget. We really don't have anything that is not within that category of operational that's over 50,000.
Hi, Diane Delgoffrey. My question is, what's the status of the beautification program where we're going to be replacing the neighborhood signage and the Cooper community reference and the corner of 444 and Chota where we've got every organization signs up there about what's happening in the village? Are there plans and what's the status? Thank you.
Beth, would you like to jump in that game?
Absolutely. Well, like a lot of areas in the POA, we're having trouble getting quotes to go out to bid to get 3 competitive bids, which is per our policy. So that's kind of been the holdup on the sign project, because we need 3 separate bids on that. You have the sign itself, then the foundation, and then the landscaping. So we are working on it. We're working with Jeff, our purchasing manager, to hopefully get that out and back. But planning wouldn't take place anyway until the fall, because it's going to be too hot for that. But we hope in July, August timeframe to get the bases built and the signs installed, and then do the planning in late fall. For the corner of 444 and Chota Road, that is a timing issue with all the events that happen in the spring. So if you look at it today, there's probably 2 there. That is TDOT right-of-way. They did say that banners are okay there as long as they're back out of the sight line, which most people have been able to do. We do have rules, they're kind of loose, but most clubs follow them, that you can only put a sign or a banner up 2 weeks before an event. It has to come down the day after. Unless it's a ticketed event, then they can do a month, but once it's sold out, it needs to come down. So we do try to remind people if it comes up too soon and it's not taken down, to keep it looking nice. But really, that's technically not our property.
Have there been any discussions about implementing a electronic sign that would just rotate?
We have looked at,
Marquee of some sort?
yeah, we've looked at that several times over the years in numerous locations, but because there is a stop sign there, we do feel that that would actually be more of a hazard, as people not going when they need to go because they're trying to read a sign, and it can be distracting because of the lights, especially at night. So we don't feel like that's an appropriate place, and also that's not our corner. It would have to be so far back that it probably wouldn't be beneficial.
Yeah, the trick that we all, and this is true of every corner in the community, it's not just that unique corner, is that we don't own some of that land, or it's a right-of-way that we don't have any control over, I guess is a more accurate statement. As an example, the corner here turning into the road where we come to the yacht club. On one side of that street, where our current sign sits and all that, we own that land. On the other side of the street, we don't. And so it puts a challenge as to where we can put signs and how we can do it and what can be put up there. I think that and this is, I guess I'll have to be blunt and say this is the gospel according to Chet. I really would like us to find a better way to deal with the banners. When we have the 487 banners in front of that corner, it is not the best look for us as a community. And I think there ought to be a better way to handle that, but I haven't figured it out yet.
Simon, if you want to go to the mic, this is more of a recreation. Annette asked if there's a way to put signage on the tennis courts stating that dogs are not allowed inside the courts. There's been some dogs in there, and some of the tennis players have asked them to leave, and they told them to mind their own business. Do you have a rule for animals on courts, Simon?
Yeah, we're not allowed to have pets on the courts.
So what should they do in that situation?
Well, the first thing to do is contact one of the staff, so they're not involved in a conflict with that person. That would be the best thing to do, is contact the staff.
Yeah, so to phrase that in the situation, if you're on the court and you're having a problem with somebody with dogs, you don't have to say anything to them. Walk inside, ask the staff to come out and speak to them. That's their job, and that's what they should be doing. You buying that, Simon?
Yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
just checking. Someone else want to get, here we go.
My name is Larry Rolap. At the board meeting, there was a discussion about putting a cap on the amount of rentals that we have in the
Yes.
village. I believe your council shared with you and the board members what a challenge that is. In addition, your staff had done a survey before on something like that and incurred a tremendous amount of expense. I understand they still have some forms, but I think it's fair to share to the community exactly what that is, because if you pursue that venture, You're talking about a lot of staff time, a lot of money, and a lot of
Yes.
effort. Thank you.
Absolutely correct. And the moral of that story is that I'm simply trying to put a number together. To be direct, none of that will ever happen beyond me finding out what that number is until the board tells me to do that. That will not be something I will initiate in any way other than to know how many renters we currently have. And that's a process I need to know anyway, right now, today. And so, but yes, you are correct that there is a large expense in that, and that's why I said earlier, and I will continue to say, the only way that will ever happen, I don't care if the board's gung-ho and really wants to do it and thinks it's the best thing and tells us go, 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 unless the homeowners decide to get behind that theory, it's a no-go out of the gate, because the homeowners have to vote on this, and if they don't want to vote on it and they don't care, it doesn't matter. It won't happen, period. So that money will never be expended until there is a true, and I used the term before, and I don't know if it's the right term or not, but unless there's a groundswell from the community that says this is what we want, frankly, I would advise the board that that's a waste of their time and money. Yes? Come on, come on.
I got my friend here, I want to hear this.
Oh, no. Don't encourage him. Come on.
I know. My name's Ed Heilman, and the question I have is, which concerns your billing direct for garbage to the users here.
Yes.
And then you in turn will pay the lump sum to whoever. That's a problem when you consider that you're going to have a markup on that because you got to make money.
No, I don't.
You don't
I'm
have
not
to make
trying
any
to make
money.
money. I'm
So
trying to
what-
pass it through.
So it's going to be passed through without an update. Okay. That's number one question. Number two question is, with this tenacity over here, which is unfortunate, that's going on legally now, and that being the case, are we not being a little presumptuous about doing all this design work and spending all this money, and then we miss the goal when we get to it, when we find out exactly how much we're going to have?
So at the end of the day, and I've mentioned this and I will continue to, I already have a budget. There's already money in the bank to
I know
do
that.
this. If everything goes wrong with this expenditure to try and get them to pay for the foundation, I've already calculated the cost of removing that foundation in this process.
Okay.
It'll just be gravy if we win.
Okay. That's all I ask.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Bob Kachura.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your service, first of all. I will have been a resident here 21 years, September 1st, and I've watched the traffic on Tellico Parkway become what it is today. Is the POA, the board, anybody doing anything to address that situation with TDOT or with our members of Congress or whomever?
Sure. Yeah, happy
Thank
to
you.
answer that one. So I met with TDOT, and I'm still not really good with intersections, so you guys bear with me. The intersection from where Food Line, you come out onto 44, that one right there, we had that one under study, I guess, 2 years before I got here. So TDOT finally came back with their answer for that particular intersection and said that we did not qualify for a stoplight, but we did qualify for a circle. Now, good, bad, or indifferent, there are people who love circles, and there are people who think they're atrocious and we should never have them. Some people on my staff think all we're going to do is improve the ability for homeowners to run into each other by having the circle in there, but that's, anyway. They said we qualify to put a circle in there. And so I went to the mayor of Loudoun County, who happens to sit on the transportation board, and ask him for funding for that. And he is going to put that to that committee to see if we can get funding for that circle. Further, I asked him, because he has to initiate it, to do a traffic study for this intersection, the intersection where you come out onto 444 from the Yacht Club, Maple Hill and this road. And that is definitely a Christians and Lions experience getting out of that, that particular exit. he's going to do a traffic study there to see if we qualify for either a light or some kind of, what was the word they used? Traffic dampening, traffic calming, that was it. Traffic calming procedure there to slow things down. I don't know what that means, but I think it translates either a stoplight or a circle. But nonetheless, I've only been here since September, and there's been an enormous difference in traffic just in that period of time for me recognizing that. So I'm sure someone who's lived here for 20 years, this has got to be a nightmare. So at the end of the day, we are indeed pursuing this with all the parties necessary to make the decisions to get things done. I agree that we've got to slow the traffic down on 44, at least break it up is probably a more accurate statement. I haven't seen a lot of crazy drivers, although Pat, you concern me sometimes, brother. But otherwise, the traffic speed is not the issue. It's the pure number of cars. The volume of traffic on 444 is just insane sometimes, some parts of the day. So yes, that was a really long way of saying yes, sir, we are. Have not lost track of that at all. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
This goes along, Joe roll out. This goes along with the idea of the noise on the road, and we live across from the Tenassi Clubhouse that used to be there. And there are unmuffled vehicles starting at 5:45 in the morning. I'm not talking just about regular cars, but Mustangs with no mufflers. And I've noticed on Highway 11 that they actually have a sign that's on unmuffled or whatever vehicles will be cited. Is there anything we can do about these crazy drivers? Some of them are Dodge Chargers that have no mufflers on them.
Sure.
And
Those are all, actually, that particular sign is just a notice of the law, of the statute that's everywhere. If a highway patrolman comes up behind one of these vehicles in Tellico Village without that, I guess it's more glass packs than it is not unmufflered. But anyway, very loud exhaust. They can cite them here as if they can anywhere else. They just put that sign because so many people were complaining about getting tickets on 11, because what happens is they come around that corner and they hit right at 11 and they want to gas it to go up the hill, and of course it makes just a tremendous amount of noise. And so a lot of people have been ticketed there. So that's why they put the sign up. But it's true everywhere. Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is the law is already there. We don't really need a sign to do it. We just need to get the police out here at a period of time to do it. Probably when Chet calls them. No, it's not a TDOT law. It's a city ordinance or a county ordinance.
Talking about the sign.
Oh,
Can't
the
just put
sign.
signs
No,
on
not the
TDOT.
sign. It's getting the police out to monitor is what I was talking about. Sorry, not the sign. Yeah, you're correct. If we were to put a sign out, it would require TDOT to approve that. But we really don't need it. The law is the law, period. Anybody else? Any of the staff have anything they want to comment on since I have a horde of you here? All right.
Hey,
Thank
hold on,
you
Chet, hold on.
What?
Had
What?
a last minute. We're a little delay online. For the roundabout circle that you talked about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
the question is, why would we have to fund that? Will you talk a little bit more about that partnership?
So we actually wouldn't fund that. We would have to give permission because some of that land we own. The tricky part about the circle there is some of that land we don't own. Back to our original conversation, one side of the street we own, the other side we don't. So we would have to cooperate. This is not about us paying for it. It's about the state would pay for that. That's the whole point of going to them and getting them to give us the funds to do the circle. But they'd also have to be involved in getting the people to allow us to put that circle in there, because it will take up more land than just the current intersection by far. So that's the answer to that one.
Again, this is Larry Rolap. At our previous home, not in Tellico, we had a circle. And one of the things that happened when they installed the circle was it was a great big piece of concrete. We petitioned the city, we then went to the county, and we arranged to have the circle landscaped. So I wish you would think about the appearance of that. Number one, as you said, you may have a lot of people just running over the damn thing. The other thing is that might help make the community more attractive. Thank
No,
you.
I don't disagree at all. In fact, the goal would be to get, I mean, I'm willing to, you know, the homeowners may feel differently, but if they're only willing to put in the circle, I'm willing to landscape the center of the circle so it looks decent and doesn't look like somebody dropped concrete in the middle of the road and we're running around it. You had a question in the back, sir? Come on up.
There's a gas line that runs almost across where that circle's going to be proposed. So that's going to be an issue. I don't think they're going to take that gas line out, move it, to make a circle there, or roundabout.
I don't know. Again, that's, could be an issue. You're absolutely correct. That could be an issue, and that's why it's their job to figure that out, not mine. Thank God. Just saying. All right, anything else? Well, thank you for the faithful few who came, and I appreciate it, and we'll continue to keep doing it. I'm getting hands waving here. Somebody else wanted to ask a question. Yes, ma'am. Can you come to Mike, dear?
I just want to make a statement regarding trash. At least we don't have to pay extra for the trash in our hands.
Here you go. Here you go. I'm bringing it to you. She's gone? Okay. There we go. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.